Hi, this is Steve Blair with Lyceum Insurance Services. And as you all know, we've started a new series called Return to Work. And in this series, I'm introducing you to a lot of my friends that have backgrounds in a variety of different industries, but they're all industries that I feel deeply impact each and every one of our businesses. And I thought it would be a great idea to be able to have these conversations, to be able to introduce you to some of the people that I know, but also give you an opportunity to learn a little bit about how other types of businesses and consulting services actually can interact very well with all of our businesses. So with that, today I'd like to introduce my friend Brian Scott. He is a really cool guy. As you can see, he's got a really neat office with lots of cool musical equipment, but that's just his fun job. His good job or his money-making job is helping businesses around their technology needs. And so, Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thanks, Steve. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you having me involved in this. And thank you for the very nice introduction. So
Sure.
I'm a career technologist, 35 years in technology, started in electrical engineering, spent most of my entire career in software development, software engineering and
Yeah.
architecture, moved into management, and then for the last 21 years at the C-suite. So I've been either the CIO or CTO for companies, helping them get the most from their technology investment and helping them make money with technology as well.
So if somebody is needing assistance in those type of areas and they're looking for somebody to be kind of that fractional CIO or provide some type of CTO related services, what's the difference between those and how do you help clients of a variety of different sizes? Because not just for really large employers, there's actually a
Yeah.
need for small employers too. So how do you feel? Can you first explain what a fractional CIO is versus a CTO and how those can help businesses?
Sure. So the fractional part of the service is just part-time. And there's, companies of varying industries and varying services, as they're growing, they have a need for high-level, executive-level technology management and leadership.
Yeah,
But yet they don't have enough of a need that they need a full-time person yet, right? And that's
right.
really that target market. So it's the larger, small to medium-sized companies in that space. The way I differentiate between CIO and CTO is, in my mind, CIO is really about infrastructure, back-end support, systems, hosting, cybersecurity, vendor management, contract management, staff management, all of those things that just help run a business, make a business real. CTO, I really kind of put in a unique little box, and that's about leveraging technology, usually software, to make money. Let's make product that we're going to
Okay.
sell or product that supports a service that we sell to make money. So it's a little top line oriented, whereas CIO is a little, usually more on the cost side.
So it's interesting, in hearing that. We actually just had our morning roundup every Friday morning. We have a roundup with our team, and we just heard about one of our clients that a nonprofit not a large nonprofit, small nonprofit, got targeted by a cyber attack, and they got into their systems unbeknownst to the client and started emailing their donors and was able to direct a rather large donor to deposit a rather large
Mm.
amount of money
Mhm.
into a bank account that was not our clients.
Yeah.
And so how would you in evaluating a company, obviously companies can benefit from someone like you, and again, this was not a large nonprofit, it was a small nonprofit, but now they're saying, is our donor going to sue us
Mhm.
potentially because they gave a rather large donation,
Right.
to this other outside nefarious entity? What would you, if you start working with a company, how do you kind of come in and evaluate? And this has become really important, I feel, because of, it kind of feels like all our businesses have become new startup companies, because
Mhm.
now it's not just employees working at one location, but potentially working from a lot of different areas all over the country, if not all over the world. We've certainly seen
Right.
that in our own client base. So kind of stepping into this new environment where we're seeing a huge increase in cyber attacks, but we're leaning more on technologies, and some technologies that we've never really used before.
Mhm.
how does someone like you come in and help companies with something like that?
It's a great use case, right? Because it's happening so much
Yeah,
in business space today. And
today.
a lot of companies will think, well, why am I going to be targeted? You know,
Yeah,
and what they don't understand is that so much of this automation that's happening in the world, in the consumer world, commercial world, and AI, bad actors are using automation and AI to just execute their attacks, right? And so
yeah,
it's not that anyone is specifically targeted. It's like a machine gun. They're just wide spraying, and
sure.
whoever bites the hook, right? And so everyone's at risk. And there are a lot of great vendors out there for smaller organizations, usually say managed service providers that manage their hosting and their devices that provide some security services. But the problem is, and this is not, not to their detriment, it's just the fact of the matter is they've got a lot of customers. And security is a very time consuming activity, right? To make sure that you're doing right, because it's a dynamic, changing world. Everything changes in technology on a weekly basis, if not a daily basis. And so where I come in with companies is that I can make sure that their vendors are doing the right things in the time frame that need to be done, and following through and actually executing everything that they're supposed to be providing. And often it's not the case, right? They just got so much on their plate. They've got some customer that blew up with an infection or some, and so that takes all of their attention. Well, other customers suffer. So I'm representing my customer, right, and what's best for them. And I understand all of the things that need to be occurring in that space. And so I'm making sure that that's really going to occur for them.
Yeah, and it seems to me what I like about what it is that you do and how you work with your clients is you're really sitting on their side of the table. You're
Absolutely.
not a MSP, you're not a technology company.
Yeah.
Your job is to sit on the side of the table, evaluate all of those different companies out there, because there's a lot of them out there, especially in not just cyber, but in any type of technology. You and I had lunch not too long ago, and you were talking about one of your clients that had a warehouse and they wanted to be able to find information better in different warehouses and move to bar scanners and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
it's not just, you're not just focused on this one area, but any technological resource that any company is using, and you're representing the client and sitting on their side of the table, not only in the evaluation of those, but also in the management and in the planning and execution of those different things. And I think that's a little bit different. And there's a lot that goes into that someone like me as a business owner might look at and go, oh, I could do that myself, but there's no way I could. So I
I
don't
mean,
have the
it's
education. I don't have the experience. I need to lean
right.
on somebody like you. And I think that's a really neat thing that you do.
Well, I appreciate that. And I mean, it's such a fast changing and a broad world in
Yeah.
technology, right? It does take a full time, just to keep educating myself. I'm constantly reading, what's coming up, what's next, what's next. But I'm glad you pointed out that I work for, for those individuals. And I tell business owners that are my customers, or the presidents and the CEOs, is like, I work for you. I don't represent any other product suites or service suites or anything else. I'm here wholly to improve your success with your company, right? So it's both your strategic vision and where you're trying to get to, and your risks and your costs today, and how to manage them in the best way. That's what I want to focus on to make you successful. And it's that objectivity and the experience without being connected to other aspects that I think makes that effective.
So one last question. I don't want to monopolize all of your time today, but so we work with some large clients, but mostly we're small and medium-sized employers, say sub 500 employees is the bulk of our business.
Mm-hmm.
With small employers going down to 2, we feel as part of our business that everybody should get the same representation and quality of consulting, no matter what size their organization happens to be. And I know you feel strongly about that as well, but kind of generically speaking across the board, if my clients could take one takeaway,
Mm-hmm.
what is something that you think all organizations, whether they're nonprofits, and we do have a lot of those in our client base, or for-profit, should really be thinking about in today's business environment, given that everything's going? Like, if there was one overriding topic that you're like, you really need to be thinking about that, what would that be?
Well, that's a tough one to just choose one, right?
Oh, I
But
don't
I
want to
think
make it too easy before I let you go.
I think the uh, I think this, which is kind of it might be an answer that's a non-answer. It is that the rate of change is accelerated at an exponential pace just recently.
Yeah.
COVID has been this catalyst that has taken the world of IT, which was already a fast changing world, and it just it took that snow globe and just shook it up, right? And so everything's flying around.
I like that. I'm going to steal that.
Yeah, right. And so it's always going to be too much, too fast in a dynamic space. That's going to it detracts all business and organization leaders from their primary goal and purpose, right? And so whether it's a really small organization that could benefit like from a once a year review of like what they're trying to do, where they're going, what their vendors are, and it's only once a year engagement, to someone who needs help every week, or every day, there's still that value and need at that level. And I can easily and effectively craft my messaging and my services around what those organizations just need that fit their footprint.
Yeah, and I've seen that on my side as well, where within our own consulting practice, that you're right. I mean, COVID, seriously, we've been in business almost 50 years, and I feel like I'm a 50-year-old startup company because of the way the business has changed so much just in 18 months.
Yeah.
And it's still changing. And I'm involved in a lot of discussions and panels through, Arlington County's Economic Development Council and a lot of other places where, this is what we're talking about. And everybody's kind of working their way through it. So what you do is extremely important, because it seems that all of these changes, technology is at the core of them. Mm-hmm. And wouldn't it be great to have somebody that is your cheerleader and quarterback at the same time to roll these out? So I really appreciate your time today. If anyone wants to be able to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
I suppose going to my website would be the easiest, which would be www.ClearTone Consulting. That's ClearToneConsulting.com.
All right, great. And we'll put that down below for everybody as well. So Brian, thank you again for your time. You're always a lovely person to hang out with, and I really appreciate you. Let's do this again sometime.
Sounds great, Steve. Thank you.
All right, thank you.